Well, Nick Lowery during the regular season was 25 of 30. But now he's mired in his worst slump, having missed 4 of his last 5. And he is noted as the most accurate field goal kicker, perhaps in the history of the league. Marinovich on first down goes long to Galt. And he was defended by Pearson. Pearson shaken up on the play here on the sideline, too, on the coverage of Galt.
Or they can afford to lose Pearson. You know, with Albert Lewis, the Pro Bowler, out of the ball game, J.C. Pearson has been the starter since he got hurt. Therefore, they've played more zone coverage than they normally do here at Kansas City. It looks like he just got poked in the eye.
So Eric Everett replaces him, as Pearson must.
And injured in the white in front of their bench were holding up play.
So there's the explanation as to why the ball is not being snapped.
Here's Galt, number 83, going back for the football. Now he goes up and see the one hand. Yeah, his left hand goes in the face mask and gets him, it looks like, in the left eye. Now they have to come in with Eric Everett, a player that was with the Eagles, was with Tampa Bay, was with other people. Here he is playing, wasn't on the roster in training camp.
2nd and 10. Ball at the 30, handed off to Marcus Allen, and he gets to the 37-yard line. We want to pause now 5 seconds to allow our ABC stations to identify themselves.
KNBC TV, Channel 9, Kansas City, Missouri.
So with Dick Vermeil and Lynn Swan, I'm Brent Musburger here at Arrowhead Stadium. The first time in 20 years that a playoff game has been staged in this city, and the first one ever for Arrowhead. The last one was an old municipal stadium. 3rd and 2 for the Raiders. This is Allen again, getting outside, and a Raider first down, out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
You know, Marcus was really impressive to me last week in watching him run. You start thinking as a coach that maybe a running back 31, 32 years old has lost a step. But this guy did not appear to lose anything in last week's ballgame. He's healthy and ready to run. Taking a look at the first quarter stats, hey, 3 minutes time of possession, 12 minutes time of possession. Totally dominated, but no points scored by Kansas City. One big play by the Raiders, and they're leading regardless of the clock time.
Chiefs having missed a pair of field goals there already in the early going. Now after the 10-yard run by Allen on first down, this is Marcus again, and the veteran gets to the 45-yard line. A little bit different game plan for the Raiders here this afternoon.
More emphasis on the running. And do you notice how Marcus comes to the line of scrimmage and not full bore? He's coming there gliding a little bit, and he's looking and going to pick the spot he's going to run rather than blasting up in there blindly. And the Raiders use big, wide line splits, and that spreads that defense out.
Eric Everett still playing at the left corner. I'm sure the offensive coaches will want to test him before long. Marinovich snaps one to the left to Galt. Galt to the 33-yard line. He has been missing in action the last few weeks for the Raiders also.
Well, only caught 20 balls all year. Has 298 of them in his career, but only 20 this season. Normally, that's not the receiver's fault. It's either game planned by the coaches or the quarterback or coverage is just not letting him get it there. Here it is, just a little slant pattern. See, Kevin Ross, the veteran, fine player, closes on it nicely. But boy, that's tough to defend by yourself. You usually need some help underneath.
1st and 10. Allen cutting back and stopped at the 30-yard line. Saliamua.
Marcus Allen, the ball carrier.
Marcus Allen, if there ever is anybody that was a Raider, he is one. The #1 rusher in the history of the organization. 8,244 yards, Brent. That's a lot of rushing yards.
Take the word from the Chiefs bench. Barnett, injured left hip. Questionable as to whether or not he'll return here today.
You know,
and the Chiefs say that they were pulled off as they come busting across the line.
You know what I sometimes can't figure out from the booth? I probably did the same thing when I was on the field, but I look down there, they throw a pass to Willie Gault on an all-pro corner. At the other corner, playing in an injured player's position, is a guy from the free agents. I mean, out of the World League, and has hardly played at all. Why not throw it him? What do you think?
That's why we make a living in the booth, second-guessing decisions like that. Wisniewski.
Anthony Parker over there at one spot.
Wisniewski was the lineman that moved and pulled the defense offside. So that brings the ball back to the other side of the 35-yard line. And now the tight end Horton lining up in the backfield. He'll slip out. Milinovich hit from behind. The ball is free, and the Chiefs recover. Moss pounces on the free ball.
It was Derek Thomas beating Bruce Wilkerson hard to the outside. Wilkerson did not stretch him. Straight drop back pass. He's going to set up in 5 steps. He sets. He's looking. See, there comes Thomas all the way around Wilkerson. Wilkerson's going to have to jam him to slow him down.
It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Get your own original Indiana Jones videos at McDonald's. Just $5.99 each with the purchase of any large sandwich all day long. Step on down to your McDonald's today and get an Indy video for just $5.99 each. The best price ever with the purchase of any large sandwich any time of day. Collect all 3. Just stop by McDonald's and ask for today's video. But hurry before this offer disappears.
Those figures for the meeting? You don't like them?
Some things are so reliable, they seem invisible.
Confusing, right? They're fine.
For the last 9 years, Canon has been the #1 choice for copiers of uncompromising quality.
No, really, tell me. You can tell me. They're fine. I'm your friend, tell me.
And if you haven't noticed, that's exactly how it should be.
We're not friends anymore.
From compact to advanced digital color to high-speed copying systems, the choice is Canon. Call 1-800-OK-Canon.
Sports fans, get a ticket to Bud Bowl 4 and you could win $1 million cash.
$1 million bucks?
But you can't get that ticket just anywhere.
Bud Bowl tickets? Huh? Bud Bowl tickets. Sorry. Bud Bowl tickets?
Bud Bowl.
Bud Bowl tickets.
Pick up your ticket where you buy Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry Draft beer. And you just might be a winner.
Hey guys, is this the line for... You know, it's not that important. Never mind.
Bud Bowl 4. This time it's for $1 million.
Undefeated Washington goes after the national crown when they meet Heisman winner Desmond Howard and Big Ten champ Michigan. It's the Rose Bowl, New Year's Day on ABC Sports.
Derek Thomas turning in the big play for the Chiefs defense. They have the ball on their own 43-yard line. We're scoreless. We're in the second quarter. The Chiefs and the Raiders. And DeBerg is 4 of 4 for 34 yards against Los Angeles here in the first half. DeBerg firing short, and he is still perfect. He hit running back Barry Word after faking the ball to him. And let's take again a look at that speed that Derek Thomas brings in defensively.
This young man has sacked the quarterback in the last 3 years more than anybody else in the National Football League, and here he's adding to him. You know, yesterday he said he had a meeting with the head coach, meaning Marty Schottenheimer, in a very serious talk because Marty was not pleased with his performance. And he said, you know, the coach, last time Marty did that to me, I had 7 sacks the next game. He's starting out right.
Barry Word running into that defensive line that no longer includes Howie Long. Howie Long is out as Bob Golick makes the stop, but it was a Kansas City first down.
But Kansas City has been super at taking the ball away. They took it away 33 times this year, 45 times last year, equals the Philadelphia Eagles for the last 2 years. They've taken the ball away. 78 times the last 2 seasons. That's a lot of them.
That was Earl Leggett, a former star with the Chicago Bears. Their coach talking to Howie Long along the Raiders sideline. DeBerg, beautiful play fake. Firing, deflected, intercepted by Lott. Ronnie Lott to midfield and still moving to the 44-yard line as John Alt finally brings Lott down. Ronnie's 9th interception of the season and a 36-yard return.
Make it through anything anyone might do with a car. We considered what would happen if you found yourself in the Amazon in August, or went camping in the Sahara and forgot your tent. What if you stayed in Bombay through monsoon season? We even considered what would happen if you drove your Saturn to the nearest Dixie Mart to get some cherry vanilla ice cream.
I was afraid to go to the doctor. I didn't want to hear that I might have an ulcer, but I just couldn't ignore my stomach. You can imagine how relieved I was when my doctor said Mylanta. He told me it wasn't an ulcer. It was indigestion. And indigestion like mine needed a strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
As usual, my brother found a way to get me in trouble. And by the time I got out, our bus was gone. And so was he. That's when I started running. Because no way was I going to let him beat me home.
At AT&T, we know every great athlete has been inspired by someone. As a proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team, we salute them all.
My brother, he still gets a kick out of seeing me run.
Ricky Ellison reacts to the play-action fake as if it's run, and then he bails out. Watch what he does. He really reacts to the run. Now he finds out it's a pass. He's, oh my God, I got to get out of here. Here he goes. Here it is. Now he bats the ball right there into Lott's hands. He causes the interception. Really good hustle by Ricky Ellison.
Ronnie Lott, ever the opportunist. 9th interception on the season. And remember, it was his blow that knocked Barnett out of the game. Then it was Ricky Ellison who tapped the ball. And Steve Smith along with big Nick Bell in that Raider backfield. Here's Nick Bell, the rookie from Iowa's first carry, and Derek Thomas there to greet him.
They're going to have to block him from the backside of the defense because they pull the offensive lineman. He comes down. He's going to make the play. Here he is. You'll see the lineman pull. That shortens the corner. Now he comes all the way down from the backside and makes that play. That tackle has to turn back much sooner, Brent, or they'll never get off tackle.
Well, they brushed him last week with the tight end Horton almost all game long.
Right, but they only had one tight end in the game that time when they ran toward him.
2nd and 11. The ball at the Kansas City 45-yard line. We're scoreless here in the first half. Marinovich dropping back, fires incomplete. Horton was defended that time by Tracy Simeon, number 54. Simeon, quite a story. This is his 32nd football game this year. He began it with the World League. He played the full schedule with the Montreal Machine. And now he has appeared for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he actually has done an excellent job for
He
this team.
is playing and started all year in the place of the injured person, Snow, and he's played well.
Well, Marinovich is only 1 of 4 here today for 12 yards and 1 interception and a fumble. So a much tougher start than last Sunday in the Coliseum, but he comes back high and incomplete. That was Mervin Fernandez, the intended receiver. There is a much better rush on Marinovich here this afternoon. This time it was the nose man, Saleamua and Moss, who were in on him.
Saleamua is the strongest man on the football team here in Kansas City, and he was being blocked, but he just kept coming, forced the quarterback to move a little bit, distract him just a little bit, and throw the incomplete pass.
Jeff Gossett into punt. He has had a spectacular season. Punting the ball, he'll go to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Stratford is back deep. Only 2 touchbacks this year. That's the best of the NFL. You want to try to drop it down inside the 20 if you can. He was out before the game practicing it for about 30 minutes. This one's shorter than he wants. Not a good punt by Gossett. A 21-yarder, and he's upset.
They're back. The World League returns in March on ABC Sports.
It was just another Saturday afternoon until those old guys came out of the woods with axes. Just when they thought it couldn't get any weirder, it did. They even brought their own music.
Awesome! Hey, fellas, how about a cold bud?
A bud? Obviously, we thought alike.
Oh, that's cold.
Maybe it was the first time you saw your reflection in a hubcap, or the first time you sat in your grandfather's lap in the driveway and pretended to steer. Whatever it was, it began our romance with cars. Something that was meant to get you from point A to point B became almost family, because you trusted what it was, how it was made, and deep down, you still believed that some things would last forever. Isn't it time you felt that way again?
The object of my affection can change.
I told them if we build it, they'd come.
Conoco, hottest brand going.
The ABC Sports coverage of the Los Angeles Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs is being brought to you by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. And by AT&T, the right choice. First and 10 for the Chiefs. The ball at the 25-yard line. Barry Word, big hole on the right side. Word almost to midfield. A 23-yard run by the Kansas City tailback.
Good double team off tackle by the tight end and tackle, kick out block by the fullback, and then he just found his way. This is what, here it is. Hayes 85, Derek Graham 74. See, double team block now. Then a kick out. Now watch him hit that crack right there. See, that's what he can give you that Christian Okoye cannot give you. He can't bounce through the cracks. This guy can.
15 carries for 62 yards for Word so far here in the first half. Again, to the Raider 49. 3 more yards. Dick, overall, when you have a team like the Chiefs, they have missed a couple of field goals. The Raiders have turned it over. What's your feeling about how the game is going? Has it settled in? Does anybody have any kind of an advantage that you've been able to see?
Well, I think it's going just like it did last week, being dominated by the Kansas City offensive line, but they haven't come up with a big play to get in the end zone. Hey, a drop pass right there. Ball control offense is great, but you've got to come up with a big play in the passing game as well.
I want to remind everybody while we have an opportunity what's coming your way tonight on ABC. Sinbad and Friends, and then we have an hour of Western action, the Young Riders. That's followed by the Commish. So we've got 3 hours of entertainment for the holidays tonight here on ABC.
Sinbad looks like he ought to be suited up. What a giant.
Putting down on that defensive line.
Yeah.
3rd and 7 for the Chiefs. DeBerg operating from that shotgun with McNair next to him. Four wide receivers are out. Good protection, and he fires complete to J.J. Burden, who was the key man last week. 17 yards. He's just a wisp of a receiver, but can he move when he gets daylight?
Yeah, he weighs 151 pounds, soaking wet. They ran a crossing pattern underneath that deep square in pattern, but the whole key to that was the Raiders only used a 3-man rush and therefore DeBerg had all the time he needed to allow that pattern to develop.
Harvey Williams returns to the offense, and he was checking there with DeBerg prior to the snap. He gets the call. Fumble! The Raiders signaling that they have it. And they do indeed.
Brent, you know, I don't have all the answers, but that is one of the negatives of rotating running backs. A running back comes in there, he's cold, he's been on the bench, then he gets in the ball game, his first carry, it isn't like he's been into the rhythm of the ball game, and the ball is not strange in his hand, but I'll tell you, they fumble more often than the guy carries it all the time. Here you can see right there, Greg Townsend reaches in and pulls it and strips it out.
Winston Moss pouncing on the loose football, and it's the Raiders' ball.
I had no idea Alaska was so far away. Coming from Tennessee, it's up there. I went there to check on a new Saturn, fix a little problem with our seat recliner. Since Robin Millage was 2,500 miles from our nearest retailer, we went to her. Didn't take long and she was back in business, and I was on my way home. I tell folks Alaska's a great place, though I'd recommend staying more than a day.
Tots, the premium choice.
When the time comes that you need a hand with life insurance, let your Allstate agent work it out on paper, starting with your house and a policy to protect your mortgage. Of course, if your family's already filled out, your agent can help you fashion a plan for a college fund or for a retirement that promises nothing but smooth sailing. So let your Allstate agent be your agent for life. You're in good hands with Allstate, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
After my heart attack, my doctor prescribed a regimen of exercise, eating right, and Therapy Bear enteric aspirin. Enteric means it's safety coated so it doesn't dissolve till it's past your stomach.
Therapy Bear enteric aspirin.
Sunday, Kirk Douglas, Laurence Olivier, Gene Simmons, and Tony Curtis in Stanley Kubrick's restored classic with footage never seen on television, Spartacus Sunday.
Todd Marinovich only 1 of 5. An interception and a fumble. Drops it back inside and almost intercepted. Chris Martin with a chance. It was down low. Made a reaching try on the ball. So Marinovich little off his rhythm in this game.
Well, he threw it behind Steve Smith, who was running a delay from the fullback position out underneath the tight end, and he just threw it a little behind him.
Nick Bell, his running back. It was 4 games ago that the Raiders last won, and that was a low-scoring game. They used 3 field goals to beat San Diego 9-7. Since then, they were beaten in overtime by Buffalo, embarrassed by New Orleans, and then lost to the Chiefs. Here is Nick Bell, breaks the first tackle, and blasts to the 33. And speaking of the Saints, we will see them later today on ABC when they host the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this has been one of the great rivalries through the years, certainly in the AFC, the Raiders and the Chiefs, and over in the NFC, the Falcons and the Saints have waged war through the decades, too. Their games perhaps have not been as important, and they haven't been televised to the rest of the country, but they have had some wonderful games between those two teams. Marcus Allen back in at running back on this 3rd down for the Raiders.
Blitz.
Stands in, intercepted. Cherry's 2nd of the game. And run out of bounds by Marinovich at the 11-yard line. The 2nd interception by the young Raider quarterback.
Deron Cherry picking off 2 today, gives him 52 in his career. Holy mackerel. Taking a look from the top here, you'll see Deron Cherry, number 20, just sitting in there. Now watch the ball right there. He's just sitting in there in a pre-aligned robber position, sitting up in there in that safety position. in front of a deep safety. He doesn't play there very often. That is such an unusual secondary coverage that it's tough for a quarterback, inexperienced or experienced quarterback, to recognize.
That's 3 turnovers already by young Marinovich. This one giving the Chiefs an excellent scoring opportunity with a first down at the 11-yard line. Here is Barry Ward. Play fake's beautiful. Play faked everybody. Touchdown is the signal. A beautiful play fake, and Fred Jones gets open at the back of the end zone. What Steve DeBerg does as well as anybody in the NFL, that one-handed play fake.
I think he was definitely pushed out. Here it is. They're not playing man-to-man down here. They're not playing man-to-man. See him go back into the safeties. The safety, Ronnie Lott, came up. There's McDaniel working back in there. He knocks him out of bounds. The officials right out there makes the right call. Safeties have to stay back against Steve DeBerg.
Lowery adds the extra point. There's a penalty flag down on the extra point. So celebrating over on the Chiefs sideline, and Jerry Mark Bright.
Extra point is good. We have an illegal
So it's
substitution
7-0.
foul. 12 men on the field. Defense. 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
You know, that's almost inexcusable for the Raiders. They were hit with 12 men on the field last week, twice in that game. Jones with a touchdown. It's 7-0 Kansas City.
Started winning. I ended up wrenching my knee. For pain as bad as this, I used to take aspirin or Tylenol. But today, I take Advil. When my body really aches, Advil is my first choice. You know, doctors recommend Advil most for sprains and strains. Advil relieves my pain, yet it's gentler to my stomach than aspirin. For me, Advil is the way to go. Advil, tablets and caplets, advanced medicine for pain.
Introducing a whole new way to look at Pepsi and Diet Pepsi.
It's beautiful.
To make sure the Saturn would make it through anything anyone might do with a car, we considered what would happen if you found yourself in the Amazon in August, or went camping in the Sahara and forgot your tent. What if you stayed in Bombay through monsoon season? We even considered what would happen if you drove your Saturn to the nearest Dixie Mart to get some cherry vanilla ice cream.
It's the Dogs against the Hogs. The Georgia Bulldogs take on the Arkansas Razorbacks in the Poland Weed Eater Independence Bowl, Sunday on ABC Sports.
7-0, and I'm sure a lot of Raider fans are wondering, why wasn't that play reviewed? Well, that's not included in the plays that are reviewable by instant replay. That's judgment as to when the receiver was driven out at the back of that end zone. So the touchdown automatically stands in that situation, and the extra point was added, and it is 7-0. So Kansas City finally gets on the scoreboard. The Raiders have turned it over 3 times as young Marinovich is struggling here in his first road game as a starter. And the ball at the 13 with Jamie Holland. Holland jitterbugging out at the 21. Now let's take a look at the brilliant way that DeBerg play fakes with one hand.
You'll see DeBerg right here go and meet the running back who gets a nice block. You'll see that right there. See, and he extends the ball, shows it, now frees it right there. See, that brought Lott right up here into the hole. Now they're bringing the receiver in behind him. This was game planned. It was determined. I saw them run this play on the practice field the other day, and the reason they were running it, because of Lott's aggressiveness.
And DeBerg told me that he learned the one-handed play fake from Roger Staubach when he was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody does it as well as DeBerg. Marinovich fires his strike now, complete to Tim Brown. Brown with a pair of touchdowns last Sunday in the Coliseum. A 16-yard reception that time. An important test here for young Marinovich, struggling early to see if he can overcome adversity and come from behind with Jay Schrader still over on that Raider sideline. He would be their number 2 quarterback today, not Vince Evans. Evans is off the active list. And for the Chiefs, a big missing item on that defense. Derek Thomas, not feeling well, has gone to the locker room. Nick Bell surrounded. 4 red jerseys in on him that time. Martin is there along with Hackett, also Everett.
Chris Martin, number 57, the outside linebacker here. Watch him sell out on this play. He didn't want to make the tackle, but he had to prevent the play from being successful. Watch him go underneath, knock the guard down. Now the running back's out there all by himself. Good job by Chris Martin.
Now the linebacker who has replaced him, number 51, Lonnie Martz, has lined up on the right side defensively. Big shoes to fill for Martz, trying to replace Derek Thomas. And they pick Martz up. No pressure from him. He fires to Allen out of bounds. Out of bounds on the far side.
See, you know what they did with Marinovich last week? There was 21 first down snaps last week. They threw on them 16 times. So that took a lot of pressure off of him of reading complicated pass coverages because he was throwing against run defenses. Today, they're mixing it up a little bit more. It's a little tougher on him.
Sam Grady checking into the game for Marinovich's Raiders. He has been bothered by injuries, and the former speedster from Tennessee could give him something on the outside. It's 3rd and 9, and 6 defensive backs on the field. Marinovich looking for the middle, throwing to Horton for the first down. Horton still battling away to the 42-yard line. So on 3rd and 9, a 20-yard reception by Horton.
No way should Horton get across the field, even though it's zoned that easy, that efficiently. Someone should have jammed him and prevented him from getting off from that wing tight end position that time.
There is another linebacker down for the Chiefs, and this is Martin, number 57, Chris Martin. And with Derek Thomas already out, they'll afford to lose still another linebacker here.
Well, Lonnie Martz is the backup linebacker. He's in there playing right now.
We'll take a break here at Arrowhead with the Chiefs leading the Raiders by a touchdown.
So I'm doing my sound check.
Hello, hello, hello.
And I hear this woman's voice.
Crunch that last chord. I'll show you.
She grabbed the guitar.
And then she started rocking. No, I mean rocking.
You're pretty good. Not.
Someone that hot deserves something this cold. Suddenly, I remembered this was a bud spot.
I like your style.
Crisp, clean, Old Spice. It puts the wind in your sails.
Business kept us on the road for days, and I was hard-pressed for a good deal on a rental car. But some guys in the airport might take me to the cleaners. Suddenly, everything fell into place.
Dollar Rent-A-Car is right on the airport, right on the money. Great rates, unlimited mileage.
May I see something in a compact?
Call 1-800-800-4000.
Arrowhead Stadium hosting its first playoff game ever. And the Chiefs lead the Raiders 7-0, 3:12 to go here in the first half. And the Raiders on the move. They have advanced to the Chiefs' 42-yard line. And 2 of the Chiefs' starting 4 linebackers are out right now. Lonnie Martz and Tracy Rogers are off Marty Schottenheimer's bench, along with Tracy Simeon and Dino Hackett. So the injuries starting to mount. We don't want to really use the word injury with Derek Thomas because the report we have is an upset stomach, so we don't know his status for the second half. First down, Milinovich. Turned it over 3 times here so far, but a chance to bring the Raiders even on this drive. It's Nick Bell, the rookie from Iowa, with a crease on the right side. Hammers to the Chiefs 35.
You know, Nick Bell at his size gives you a little bit what Barry Ward and Christian Okoye gives to the Kansas City Chiefs. You better hit him with more than one person. Nick, here he is, 255 pounds, has good speed, was a fine player at the University of Iowa.
In their first game, Bell, down at the goal line, was sandwiched by 2 Chief defenders. They fractured a rib, and Bell has been slowed ever since. Now second down for the Raiders. He'll get the call again. Nick for the first down. Whoa, makes his way to the 20-yard line. He is a load.
Well, I mean, they're just blocking huge holes in there right now. Real good job by Max Montoya, number 65, turned the linebacker out and opened that hole up in there. There he goes, bouncing through that hole. See, he has that mobility of a smaller back, but the size of the giant back.
The Chiefs missing an all-pro cornerback who has been out. 2 of their linebackers are out right now. And the 2-minute warning here. 7-0. Kansas City leading Los Angeles. We'll take a break.
The network. It's the most powerful tool in business today. At GTE, we can put that power in your hands. The power of a personalized communications network designed for the success of your business alone. The growth of your business, the prosperity of your business. We've done it for others. We'll do it for you. Because at GTE, the power is on.
The National Football League is concerned about many of the problems that affect our youth. Drugs, malnutrition, and the quality of education that they receive. That's why the NFL, through NFL Charities, has joined other business leaders to support America 2000, a community-based voluntary effort to create a new generation of American schools. Commissioner Paul Tagliabue.
The people in our league are local and national leaders who want to see that today's students receive the best possible education. That's why NFL Charities is involved.
The Denver Broncos have worked in partnership with the public sector, private business, and local volunteers to help our children. We have recently been involved with Colorado 2000, a statewide strategy to transform our schools into the best in the world.
Improving our nation's schools and educating tomorrow's leaders, that's the task before us. I'm confident that NFL Charities can help achieve that goal.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Today, on behalf of NFL Charities, Commissioner Paul Tagliabue announced a $1 million NFL Charities grant to the New American Schools Development Corporation. NFL Charities has now committed more than $13 million to worthy national causes. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Raiders at the Chiefs' 21-yard line with a 1st and 10 and trailing by a touchdown. Movement on the right side of the offense.
Was that Steve Wright, the big offensive right tackle? You know, out of the ball game also, Brent, is the all-pro defensive end.
Number 66, offense. Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Neil Smith is not in on the line of scrimmage, so they have 3 starters out of that front right now. What the defense has to do is not allow the other injuries to distract them and lose their concentration. These other guys are good football players. They have to step up and make the play.
Who's the leader of the defense?
Chris Martin, and he's on the bench injured.
So a heavy burden on the Chiefs' backups right now. Bell finding running room. The umpire had to get out of harm's way, didn't he? As Bell battled to the 17-yard line.
Don Mosbar and Steve Wisniewski did a real nice job of allowing him to come back inside. Here's Chris Martin on the sideline there moving around. I'll tell you, you darn near have to cut his leg off to get him. I would bet he'll be back. He's the kind you darn near have to cut it off. He loves to play football.
It's the left knee that was sprained. Martin trying to walk it off over there on the Chiefs sideline.
With the trainer.
Second down now for Milinovich and the Raiders. Here's Bell getting to the outside, taking Cherry an extra yard. Gets to the 14-yard line. This will be third down and about 3 for the Raiders with a minute to go here in the first half.
The fullback on this play, Steve Smith, did an awfully nice job. Now I see why Marty was raving about his blocking ability. Watch him on this play. This is not a lot of fun. A lot of times all it is a headache block. Watch. Boom! Right there. There's that hole up inside. Look at the flexibility and mobility of that big 255-pound back.
Third down, the Raiders need to get to the 10-yard line. Marinovich under pressure throws incomplete as Tracy Simeon came rushing up from his linebacking spot.
You know, Kansas City doesn't include their linebackers an awful lot. The inside linebackers on a blitz. This time they did it. It was a good call by defensive coordinator Bill Cowher. See, he's going to want to set up short right there and throw quickly. See, there's Bill Moss, 63, and there comes Simeon. Hey, 2 people coming in there cleanly. Someone broke down in pass protection.
And the Raiders with a 32-yard field goal attempt. First, we've got a timeout. They had sent Jaeger onto the field, and Jeff was all set to go, and then the timeout was called. And that gives us an opportunity to remind you about what's coming up on ABC on New Year's Day on Wednesday. We've got a great triple header for you. We'll start at 1:30 Eastern Time. California and Clemson, Pac-10 in the ACC. That'll be in the Citrus Bowl down in Orlando, Florida, and then the Granddaddy. And what a great Rose Bowl this will be this year between Washington and Michigan. Can the Huskies win a national championship? Well, they'll need to come up with an impressive win over Michigan and then take their chances as to what will happen to Miami later in the day. And then following the Rose Bowl on ABC, there's a team that's being overlooked as far as the national championship picture is concerned, and that's the Florida Gators. They come in number 3. They will be playing Notre Dame in the USF&G Sugar Bowl. That's game 3 of our tripleheader. Here's the 32-yard field goal attempt, and it is perfect. So the Pro Bowl kicker for the AFC, Jeff Jaeger, with a 33-yarder, puts the Raiders on the scoreboard.
I'll tell you, you know what? Marinovich was struggling there for a while, and I would imagine the coach Shell over there, Mike White, the quarterback coach, they're starting to say, I wonder if we ought to take this kid out. You know, get him out of there and get the other fella in there, get Schrader in there. But they didn't, and he's sort of responded. He's coming back a little bit, doing a little better job.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Al Davis stand up while the football game is still going on.
I think he's making an offensive call for the next series.
That's Mike White to the right side. Not making a call. Al wouldn't make a call. It's a suggestion, folks. You know that. He doesn't get involved in the game plan after. We believe that. Okay, coming up at the Toyota halftime report, Atlanta, New Orleans. We're going to hear from the guys back down in New Orleans. Carl Peterson. He's been the architect of the success story here in Kansas City. Hired Marty Schottenheimer, and he's going to come in and tell us about some of the changes ahead for the World League, as Carl's also going to be deeply involved in that, and we'll have first half highlights and statistics from this game. The one thing you have to say about the Raiders, things have not gone their way here in the first half with 3 turnovers, and yet they're only down by 4 points. This is Stratford, and he breaks out of the pack. There is a flag back where the Raiders kicked it off, so they probably were offside.
There's a flag at the other end of the field too, Brent. So we have one of those very often called pushing. With a guy like Stratford, you make people kick it to him as many as you can. You see how you lose him in there. He's tiny, he slides underneath people and gets upfield.
We have 2 fouls on the play. Number 43, kicking team, offside. Illegal block, number 80, receiving team. Penalties offset, re-kick.
So the old do-over here at the first round of the playoffs of the NFL on the road to the Super Bowl, which comes to a northern site, I guess, for only the 2nd time. I remember when it was in Pontiac, Michigan. And that, of course, was the breakthrough by the San Francisco 49ers when they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. You know, Dick, I should take each of our commercial spots when we come out and ask you about each job and see if you're interested. Would you like the Chargers job?
I can start. A real buddy.
I can start.
You have done that to me before, too, you know. You are a real buddy.
Let me ask you this, because I'll save a lot of general managers' telephone calls. Are you interested in going back as a head coach, or should I check with Carroll?
I'm with ABC as long as they'll keep me.
Okay. I think that'll be a long time, to tell you the truth. Stratford Townsend in the end zone. I just can't remember a year when there has been so much turmoil in the coaching ranks as there is right now. I know that in talking to Al Davis, he indicated that he thought Bobby Ross would wind up as the head coach down at San Diego. Bobby did an excellent job, of course, not only at Maryland, but with Georgia Tech. He also told me that Chuck Knox could be headed for the Los Angeles Rams, that owner Georgia Frontiere has always liked Chuck, who was once the head coach of the Rams, and that he indeed might be headed back down there, but Al said he doesn't think that deal is concluded. And, of course, the shocking news in Cincinnati, but that opening has been closed as young David Shula steps in there and becomes the head coach. So here it is. First down, final seconds of the first half. Low-scoring first half. Raiders and the Chiefs plagued by turnovers, and it's a 7-3 score with the Chiefs ahead.
You know, the Chiefs playing totally out of personality. They are not a turnover fumble football team, and they have played that way today.
The end of our first half. And we'll return with halftime activities after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station.
He has touched all of us in a way few men could. Coach Tom Landry.
My faith and my family have always been my first priority. And in their eyes, I've always been a winner. I've coached some of the greatest athletes the game has ever known. But perhaps the best part of it all was the spirit of competition. To know the sense of victory in winning 2 Super Bowls, but also to know how to lose a game without losing your will to win or your dignity. That's really the greatest lesson that the game can teach any of us. And so I've come full circle to the things that are the most dear to me, my faith, my family, and the game I love. When you visit the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you'll see this old cowboy, Tom Landry, who's inviting you now to share the adventures of the game that I love so much. It's all here, waiting for you at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Don't miss it.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Yo, what's up? Look, ABC had their own idea about what Sinbad and Friends should be like. What? But I'll be hanging with some of my homies doing my own thing. Heavy D, Bobby McFerrin, and even James Brown's mama gonna be in the place. It's gonna be a fresh night of comedy and music on Sinbad and Friends tonight. That's right, tonight. See you there.
At 8/7 Central.
Not every emergency at St. Joseph Health Center utilizes our trauma center capability. Sometimes you just need a little help in a hurry. So right next to our regular emergency department is Emergency Quick Care. And about half the time, for about half the cost of regular emergency treatment, a physician like Dr. Mark Holcomb will treat that painful earache, awful flu, nasty cough, big bad cold, or little owie. Emergency Quick Care. Open evenings and weekends at St. Joseph Health Center.
Get ready, America. We can't hold it back anymore. It's the $100 million avalanche of savings, featuring $1,500 cash back on all Jeep Cherokees. That's right, $1,500 cash back, plus up to $1,600 in option package discounts. There are great savings on other vehicles, too. So get to the avalanche of savings now. When it comes to savings, we've got you covered.
Drive for the gold with Jeep and Eagle.
See Raytown, Jack Miller, Ballas, and Overland Park.
Happy holidays and have a great new year.
The Toyota Halftime Report. Brought to you by Toyota, reminding you to always buckle up. Do it for those who love you. Here now, Brent Musburger.
One of our doubleheader, Kansas City leading the Raiders 7-3. Game 2, New Orleans will be hosting Atlanta. Let's send you down now to Frank Gifford. Frank.
Very much, Brent. And outside the Superdome, the sun is starting to break through. This town is coming to life. People are starting to trickle into this massive dome.
And coming up, of course, the New Orleans Saints at 11-5, first ever division champion of the Western Division of the NFC, go against Atlanta, 10-6. An interesting matchup that Al and Dan and I will be calling for you this afternoon, and an interesting quarterback matchup here, Al.
Two guys who finished the season, Frank, with hot hands. The New Orleans Saints were minus Bobby Hebert because he had a shoulder injury. They couldn't wait for him to come back. They said we'll be a different team, and they were. He came back on a Monday night game 2 weeks ago and led them to a big 27-3 victory against the LA Raiders. And then last week he played fairly well as they defeated Phoenix and clinched the NFC West. On the other hand, you've got Chris Miller of the Atlanta Falcons. He threw more touchdown passes this season than Dan Marino and Warren Moon. He has really come along. But today for Chris Miller and the Falcons is graduation day. And Dan, what sort of defenses will these two quarterbacks be looking at?
Well, Al, we've talked so much in the past, and we've seen in the past a tremendous defense played by the New Orleans Saints, but they've got problems in the secondary where they've been riddled with injuries, and you could be playing a tougher opponent than the Falcons where they use that 4 wide receiver set. Virtually every healthy DB for the Saints will be in the ballgame. Conversely, for Atlanta, they gamble a lot defensively. They get great coverage by their 2 corners, Sanders and McKyer, and they blitz a lot up the middle. And when you take chances like that, you can get burned, and the Falcons have.
All coming up a little later, and we'll be returning with more of our halftime report in just a moment.
Somehow, people have gotten the idea the new Toyota Paseo is a wildly exciting, sporty coupe. The Paseo is a practical, sensible car. Okay, so it has some muscle. And a low starting price could be a big turn-on. And sure, you're going to be instantly popular. That's no reason to do something impulsive. Think it over. The all-new Paseo. A very practical car. From Toyota.
Here in Kansas City, the Chiefs a little shy at that linebacking position right now. They have called on their Iron Man, Tracy Simeon, to do something that he has not done too much this season. On the blitz, he was able to get in and put some pressure on Todd Marinovich. This is football game number 32 for young Mr. Simeon. He started out the year wearing number 53 for the Montreal Machine in the World Football League. And there he is with a successful blitz, beating the so-called block there by the right tackle. And Carl Peterson, the president and the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, congratulations, first of all, on the great success you've had here with the organization. The folks are so excited about this football team. But tell me about using players from the NFL and the World League. Here you are relying on a youngster who played a full schedule. Can they hold up, Carl? What are your thoughts about that?
I'm very much of an advocate of the World League. Tracy Simeon and Mike Elkins we sent last year, and they both, I think, gained a tremendous amount of experience. The experience that we can't give them, which is game experience. As you know, we've passed a rule now in the National Football League that each team in the NFL will supply 4 players to the World League, and I think it will improve the quality of play. More importantly, will give these young guys what they need is game experience.
Carl, what about coaches? I would think it would be a great place for some young assistants to go and try their hand out as a head coach in professional football. There's so many openings, for example. Why not use the World League as a feeding ground?
Well, absolutely, and we've discussed already in our meetings the possibility of sending our special teams coaches to the first couple weeks of training camp in the World League, because when you only have a coaching staff of 4 assistants, that's the part that gets neglected.
Carl, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
All right. Now, coming up, I want to remind everybody that there's more football coming your way on spring. The premiere of the World Football League, March 22nd. The New York, New Jersey Knights will travel over to Wembley to take on the league champion London Monarchs, or the Ohio Glory and the Orlando Thunder. And Dick Vermeil, I'm sorry I won't be with you this year.
Yeah,
I'll miss those.
You copped out.
I'll miss those.
I'll tell you.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go to the pubs for you.
Okay. What are your thoughts as we look ahead to the second half here now between the Chiefs and the Raiders?
Well, I think the Raiders gained some momentum. The Chiefs buried themselves a little bit with the turnovers, and so did the Raiders. But the Raiders were running the ball well late in the second quarter with Bell, and that's going to give the Chiefs some problems in the second half, especially if they can't come back with those starters on defense.
Yeah, and Kansas City missing a couple of very important field goals in the early going in this game, too. So it is 7-3. Chiefs lead the Raiders, and we'll be right back.
Power windows are just one of the many useful features you get with the extra value option package on the 1992 Toyota 4Runner. So is air conditioning, power door locks, cruise control, power side mirrors, and special chrome trim. Of course, up to $900 savings is a pretty nice feature too. And just imagine what you can do with that.
New Year's Day, the best is here. It all begins with the 103rd Tournament of Roses Parade. Then our Bowl Fest tripleheader kicks off as ACC champ Clemson meets California in the Florida Citrus Bowl. Followed by the matchup you've been waiting for in the granddaddy of them all. The undefeated Washington Huskies make their claim to the national title as they tackle Big Ten champ Michigan in the Rose Bowl. And that night, number 3 Florida takes on Notre Dame in the USF&G Sugar Bowl. New Year's Day's biggest games are on ABC Sports.
The Raiders and the Chiefs. This is the first game on the road to the Super Bowl. The winner will not know who they play, pending the outcome of tomorrow's game between the New York Jets and the Houston Oilers. That will determine which of the teams winds up in Buffalo. Both the Raiders and the Chiefs feel that they will wind up in Buffalo. And of course, a year ago, the Raiders lost the AFC Championship to the Bills. They were hammered 51-3. So the second half is coming up here from Kansas City.
The Toyota Halftime Report has been brought to you by Toyota, reminding you to always buckle up. Do it for those who love you. We'll be back with the second half after this from our ABC stations.
Sunday, Stanley Kubrick's restored classic.
March tonight!
With footage never before seen on television.
I promise you a new Rome.
We can beat anything they send against us.
The historic fight for freedom against the Roman Empire.
I pray for a son who'll be born free.
Kirk Douglas, Laurence Olivier, Gene Simmons, and Tony Curtis. Beginning Sunday, Spartacus.